Opening scene. A lush vineyard in the rolling hills of ancient Israel. The camera pans over workers in the field under the golden sun. Voiceover. Have you ever wondered how a simple story can carry a profound message? Welcome to today's episode of Bible Stories, where we explore the powerful lessons that guide our faith and transform our lives. Today, we're diving into the parable of the two sons, one of the most significant lessons Jesus ever taught. Scene shifts to a young man tilling soil with rough hands, while an older man, their father, stands on a small hill overlooking the vineyard. Voiceover. Imagine a farmer, a man who has toiled under the scorching sun of the Judean plains to nurture his vineyard. He loves his two sons dearly and is deeply committed to instilling in them the responsibilities they will one day inherit. But the question always lingers: will they honor their father's wishes? Scene transitions to Jesus speaking to a small crowd in a shaded area surrounded by olive trees. Voiceover. In Matthew 21:28-32, Jesus tells us of a father who approaches his two sons and asks them to work in his vineyard. The first son replies, "I will not." From here, you might think he is disrespectful, ungrateful, even rebellious. But wait. The first son is shown sulking, sitting under a fig tree, but then slowly standing up as the words resonate within him. Voiceover. Something happens. The first son experiences a moment of conviction, a change of heart. He ultimately decides to go to the vineyard and do his father's bidding. His actions speak louder than his initial words. The scene shifts to the second son, clean and neatly dressed, smiling at his father and saying, "I will go." Voiceover. But what of the second son? He says, "I will go, sir." His words seem respectful, obedient, yet they bear no fruit. He doesn't lift a finger to enter the vineyard or fulfill his promise. Back to Jesus as he turns to his audience with a piercing gaze. The crowd looks intrigued, even puzzled. Voiceover. Jesus then asks, which of the two did the will of his father? The answer, of course, is the first son. The camera shifts to close-ups of people listening, expressions of realization dawning upon their faces. Voiceover. But this isn't just a story about two brothers and a vineyard. It's a challenge to every one of us. In this short parable, Jesus highlights the profound difference between words and deeds. He speaks to the religious authorities, those who claim to honor God but fail to follow through in their actions. Scene changes to flashbacks of tax collectors and sinners approaching Jesus with reverence and open hearts. Voiceover. At its core, this parable calls out hypocrisy. It's a reminder that the heart that turns toward obedience, no matter how late, is more valuable than lip service to faith. The tone softens as images of Jesus embracing outcasts and forgiving sinners are shown. Voiceover. Let's dig deeper. The first son represents many of us in our brokenness. There are moments when we resist God, when we say no, but grace has a way of reaching us. It prompts us to change course and accept His call. For those with open hearts, redemption is always within reach. The sound of a shofar blows, signaling a shift to a scene of the temple priests speaking inside Jerusalem, their resistance to Jesus' words clear. Voiceover. Now consider the second son. His response reflects a hollow faith. He represents those who are quick to say the right thing, but fail to live it out. This parable teaches us that superficial obedience isn't enough. It's through our daily actions that we truly honor God. Scene transitions to modern-day parallels. People volunteering, praying, or seeking forgiveness in meaningful ways. Voiceover. So what does this mean for us today? Imagine being faced with moral decisions where your actions define your character. In relationships, at work, or even in moments of solitude, ask yourself, am I following through on my commitments, not just in words but in deeds? The camera pans to a modern congregation, showing people in contemplation, praying, and engaging in community service. Voiceover. As we reflect on this parable, let's remember, God values authenticity over pretense. A reluctant yes that leads to genuine action is better than an eloquent no couched in insincerity. So, whether you're someone who has denied God in the past or struggled to follow through, know this: the vineyard is always open. There's always work to be done, and the call is never revoked. Closing scene returns to Jesus under the olive tree, smiling warmly at the crowd as they disperse, clearly moved. Voiceover. May this simple yet transformative parable inspire you to make every yes count, not just for yourself, but for your relationship with God, as you grow in faith and commitment. The vineyard is waiting. The question is, will you go? End with text overlay. Stay tuned for the next story in our series.